So, man, this new Andre 3000 album, what do you think?
I love it. It's experimental. It has so many influences, really cool synth instruments. And surprisingly enough, it kind of gives, while it has this new age, psychedelic type of mystical feel to it, it has so many classical elements. It's like mixing two worlds together.
Yeah, so a lot of people on Facebook lately have been really down in this album. Some people have, some people haven't. A lot of my more spiritual friends, they love it. A lot of my more conventional friends who are kind of used to, Andre 3000's usual sound, they're shocked. And they're really kind of dissing it. So, we're both musicians. This is my girlfriend. It's actually our first video together. It's Laura Jones.
Hi.
Hey. And check out her channel, by the way. She's got a new single on it, and we'll be releasing more music. And definitely check out the music on my channel. But, as musicians, I just really wanted to come on here and talk about this because, like I said, a lot of people are freaking out. So what's going on? Basically, here's what I think. So his music, because a lot of people are probably thinking that this is just random music, but if you grew up listening to music and playing music, you kind of know where it comes from. And I wanted to kind of tell, the people where this music is coming from. So when I hear Andre 3000's new album, I hear a lot of the old liquid soul, liquid funk, the experimental but really good sound of the 70s, back when technology was really starting to catch on and a lot of artists were experimenting with it, like Roy Ayers, Henry Mancini, Lonnie Liston and the Cosmic Rays, and and I also hear a lot of New Age music in it. So if you listen to New Age, or if you've ever heard of the genre New Age music, a lot of his sound sounds like that too. And I just think it's fascinating because it was so unexpected. If you would have told me 20 years ago, and I think everybody can agree with this one, that he was going to release like this personal, soulful, instrumental music from the heart, cosmic funk, with a little bit of New Age music in it, I think we all would have been like, no way in hell.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with the juxtaposition. Like, we all know Andre 3000 to be more of a mainstream artist, very creative.
Thanks.
Right? And I think that
Sorry,
everybody
Miss
enjoyed.
Jackson.
I am for real. I think we can all agree that we enjoy Andre 3000's music as it was, but this is just so evolutionary. It shows his metamorphosis and, going from something more of a mainstream type of artist to an artist that is now releasing songs that are 10 to 17 minutes long, very emotion filled, very full of like eclectic instruments and, even things like, going from a song where it's like, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Yeah.
You can count the meter in it. These songs are so expressive. Sometimes you can't even tap your foot to them. You just kind of feel them and embrace them in their sound. So even the lack of meter shows that he's moving away from something that's so like mainstream to something that is just way bigger than that. And I think that's something to be appreciated.
Right. And some people are down in him, like I said, and I think some people probably think he's crazy, and maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know the guy.
We're all a little crazy. Everyone's wired a little funny, right?
Yeah. Andre, if you're watching though, I like the music. I think it's cool.
Chef's kisses.
I've never been the craziest Outkast fan, but I've always been able to at least appreciate that they've always been original. They're very original hip hop group. It took a lot of courage, I think, for him to kind of make this because, for years he's been famous off of a certain sound and a certain style and aesthetic and even persona, that this has completely blown away. And I don't mean blown away as if one's better than the other, but I mean like completely just shifted. And I think even his first song on that album really says that. You know, the first song, so don't quote me on this, but it kind of, you know, the title was something like, I really wanted to make a rap album, but this is where the wind blew me.
And you know what, speaking of which, his last song title, also don't quote me, but something about, you know, feeling like he was on a dungeon floor and beneath was like this beautiful garden. You know, it just shows how liberated he feels by doing something that feels closer to his heart, closer to his soul, versus something that was trapping him, something like the rap game or the industry as it was.
Yeah. And you know, and that's not to say that he doesn't love hip hop still, but maybe this was a side of himself that he felt like he really could not express, but at the same time felt like he could no longer contain. And so he just released it. And I love that. You know, I think that's so cool. And, you know, even the picture of the album, if you look at the picture of the album, it looks a lot like the old 70s albums. You know, if you look at like Roy Ayers album covers, you know, M2May album covers, and just a lot of the Cosmic Soul Lonnie Liston, that's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. It looks a lot like those.
Absolutely.
So
and the vibe is set, the tone is set with even the color scheme used, the greens, the neutral colors, like it feels so tranquil, both to, you know, see the album cover and to hear the music. It really is something that's spiritually uplifting, and just it's very settling. It helps you to feel at ease, and there's a lot in there that I'm sure a lot of people in the spiritual realm will really gravitate to.
Yeah. What was that thing you said it reminded you of? So Laura listens to like these frequencies, okay? And they're really pretty sounding. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like aliens or something, but yeah. What are those things called?
They're just that, they're frequencies, and specific frequencies will help you to heal specific things within your body or feel a higher level, open up the third eye. And all of those frequencies, like it just gave you a vibe. Sometimes the sustained note that they would have through it reminded me a lot of the frequencies that I'm used to hearing, and they really do have that relaxing appeal to them.
Yeah. Wow.
It's nice. Yeah. And some of these synths are so interesting too.
Man.
I know
They're
I've said it
beautiful.
before, but I have to touch base on how I love that he used acoustic instruments and classical instruments, but then also had this very synth feel behind it. You know, some of them sounded even like that one synth. It's an actual instrument, but it works as a synth called the theremin.
Okay.
And it was so cool to hear. It gave you this really cool vibe.
Man. Okay. But yeah, just, you know, like I said, I saw so many posts on Facebook, and man, I mean, it was either love or hate. You know, your spiritual people were like, it's beautiful, it's a pathway into the soul and third eye, and then other people were like, man, what the hell has happened to Andre? They're like, he has done lost his mind. And it kind of reminds me of Beyonce's last album. I think it was her last album, where she kind of really started experimenting with a lot of house music, EDM, and electronica, which I thought was cool because, I mean, again, I just think that it takes a lot of courage to express yourself freely. And one of the things that is part of expressing yourself freely as an artist is that sometimes your musical taste, preferences, and even your outlook on life is going to change. And that's going to be reflected in your musical or music, because your whole music perspective is even going to change. You know, like I was talking to Laura earlier, and I was saying, you know, Elvis, right before he died, was experimenting with a lot of funk and soul music. And if you would have listened to that, you know, compared to like his
rockabilly,
right, rockabilly type stuff, you know, you'd be like, what the hell? You know, just blown away. But I think that that's really cool because, you know, we're both not mainstream artists. And so part of that, you know, and being non-mainstream is not really conforming to what you think you should produce. It's making music from the heart that you want to make, that you think that you should make. And to me, that takes a lot of originality, you know, and courage. And just, I just think that that's cool.
Absolutely. And whatever journey he's on, I think that it has showed us a really great new perspective that we haven't gotten to see from him. You know, it's an instrumental album, so even him not rapping on it or spitting bars, you know, is really cool. And it's nice that he shares that journey with us, because so many people go through things, they have so much testimony and so much stuff that they could share with the world, and they keep it all in. He was brave enough to be able to show us into that world of his, and I think it was incredible. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, and if you want to hear more of that sound, you know, I would encourage everyone watching to check out a lot of the 70s cosmic funk. Like I said, Roy Ayers, Lonnie Liston, M2 May, Donald Byrd, Henry Mancini, you know, those are a lot of those artists that made and inspired a lot of that music. And it was coming out at a time when the technology was finally available to make all these cosmic sounds as you were. And, you know, if you also want to hear other elements of that music, I would say check out a lot of the New Age music, especially a lot of the New Age music from the late 80s and early 90s.
Yanni.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, you know, and I'm not saying that he copied it. You know, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that he, you know, copied it. I'm not even saying that he borrowed from it, but I think he was inspired by that. And I think that that's okay. You know, I think it's okay to be inspired by something that already exists, and you put your own spin on it. And maybe you want to add your own perspective to it. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I had to say. I just thought that was a really cool thing and wanted to share that.
You know, I agree. I guess the only other thing that's on my mind are these song titles. Some of them are just so stream of consciousness hilarious that it's kind of worth just reading the song titles even before you dive into the album. Like, there's a lot to enjoy there. And some of them are very thought-provoking. Like, one of his titles were Ants to You, Gods to Who? And if you think about it, it's like, wow. If you take a step back and you look at that as it is, it's your perspective. Everyone has their own unique perspective, right? It's your universe, it's you. But for you, it may look one way, and for another being or entity or person, it's a completely different and just thought-provoking process of like looking at it from another angle. It's a really cool album.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was all I had to say. There was one other thing I was going to say, but I totally forgot. But I'll put it in the notes, and you can read about it later. So, other than that, I think that's about it.
Yeah. And thank you for inviting me to make this video with you.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
You love me, and I love you. And
This is my boo-boo head right here, okay? So yeah, and like I said, check her channel out too, because she's also a singer, damn good singer, and we work on music together, and it's awesome. That's why we had to come on here and talk about this a little bit. So
yeah, we're sharing our perspective with the world. So thank y'all for watching, and thank you for having me, babe.
Love you.
I love you.
Check it out.